The sacrifice by Brother Gross has been made, and now we are left on a journey for us to uncover the truth of this world ourselves, prove heliocentrism and anything else that may come along with it. We end up seeking out a monk in the boy of Bedeni, and hopefully we uncover some answers, some things that we need, and he'll understand and have some knowledge, of course, of what has, been put within these books and all the things that we've fully obtained potential hope for this world within. And hopefully things go over well. This is two of the three characters that we see within the opening and ending, so we assume that we'll run into the girl as well at some point, whether it's this episode or one or two or so down the line, and they'll take us on a strong quest to uncover these things. So hopefully it all works out. Hopefully we are careful with what we end up doing and don't have any run-ins either with somebody like Novak, because that could be really, really bad. But you do got to be careful too, right? You can't just go around and telling people and asking people about this stuff without knowing who they are and what they know and any of that, because if they are somebody who, straight up opposes you in any way and thinks that what you're doing is the devil's work in a way, this could end bad, So we got to hope that somebody like Oxy can actually keep his head on straight here and be aware enough of these, subtle things to not bring much more attention to than is really needed. So I believe he'll be all right, though. And hopefully through the guidance of those in which he meets here, it'll be able to be a lot stronger and easier for him to do so. So hopefully all goes over well. If you look at all the links and subscribe announcement, feel free to stick around for the discussion. Limited content. This other series is going with episode 6. No.
はい、自分オクジーと申します。ちょっと見てほしい書類があって。
まず一つ確認したい。君の話は私の人生を大きく変えているか。
I believe so.
そう断言できないものに時間を割きたくない。
ある意味では人生を変えてしまうかもしれません。その教会的に少し問題かもしれないので。
Maybe I'll come then. All right. Oh, that was easy. Well, you were told to.
言われてきただけなので。
あ？誰に？
昔、町の修道院にいた頃、展開について質問をした人いませんでした。
さあな。院の決まりで定期的に市民と話してたが、あの時間はとにかく苦痛で覚えていない。
ああ。
そうですか。その人の伝言で来たんですよね。こういう記録を取ってた人なんですが。
の観測記録か。なんだ、結構緻密な記録じゃないか。世俗にもたまにはこういうものが。なぜ逆光からの記録がない？2年に一度、ここからが重要な事象だぞ。
That kind of ruined this world.
言うのに心を痛めて。
Yeah.
観測やめちゃったんです。
あ？心を痛める？惑星の逆光を知らなかったのか？
No.
そんな得体の知れないものに時間は割けない。帰ってくれ。
Home. About that.
なんで私はこんなところに。
Just doing a job at the end of the day.
我々は神に仕える仕事をする選ばれし集団だ。その前提で言うぞ。君は圧倒的だ。他は10人がかりで協力してる中。君はただ一人でこの量の問題を解いたそうじゃない。
Interesting. Right, this is just normal.
だが、これがどういうことかわかるな。何度言えばわかる。ここでは想定を超えた勉強は許されない。規律通りに行動しろ。足並みを揃えろ。
Getting punished for going above and beyond.
むち打ち一回。自分でやれ。 よし。おい。
Even in regards to this.
これで発言してもいいですか？
バデーニ君、一体何度こんなことを繰り返す？
懲罰と引き換えに勉強の自由を得られる限り。
Hmm. So it answers a lot of questions potentially about scarring and
何よ。
私がずっと待っている。私を特別にする瞬間。私を偉大にする瞬間。私が歴史を動かす瞬間ですよ。
it's like, what is wrong with you?
態度のままでは特別などにはなれん。その情熱は神学にだけ向けろ。大数や幾何学が一体何に必要なんだ？
神が人類に課した最大の難問を解くのにですよ。
すべての答えは聖書にあるぞ。
では、
Why venture past what is right?
神が作った二つの世界。月より下のこの大地は不完全で生成消滅を繰り返し、予測不能の運動を神が作った完璧であるはずの展開でも円は歪み、奇妙な輪を描く逆光が生じる。この謎の原因に人類は立ち向かわなければならない。そうでなきゃ神が設計を間違えたことになる。そんなことはありえない。
Yeah, so operating it from a different perspective is fun.
が隠れてるはずだ。
理由などない。
It just happened.
定めなだけだ。
But we need to know why.
世界について今以上に知れることはない。
でもあなたなら目を通せるはずだ。うちの図書室に厳重に保管してる異教異端者たちの金賞。
Instead of just burning them up and getting rid of the movie storing them.
するな。
私は知る資格がある。神によって能力が与えられたのに、なぜ人間に制限されなければならないのか。
好奇心は罪だからだ。
Curiosity being a sin, so crazy.
人よりその欲が強い。間違っても金賞を読もうなどと思うな。体罰では済まんぞ。
どうするんです？
目玉を焼く。
It's like the most important thing for him to not lose outside of his own mind.
なんでこんな誰にでもできること。私にふさわしくない。もうここで得られるものは全て得たし、減属して大学でも行くか。この小口の刻印、やっぱり金書だ。
The way he dives in there.
この前の話で気になったのか。自分だって好奇心に弱いじゃないか。
Oh, is he testing you? The knowledge you thirst for. Ah. What is this doing in here?
まさかそれ。
待て。まだ君が読んでいるところを見てない。今なら間に合う。それを置いて立ち去れ。本を開いたら一瞬で取り押さえる。読む暇などない。そんなの不毛だろ。
その通りですね。本を開くのは一瞬でしょう。
You read in that time though?
私はずっと待ってた。
Just spin through
そん
everything.
な特別な一瞬を。
残念だよ。
太陽測距法により、太陽は地球の約109倍の大きさとなる。これにより、
If even like a sentence, you know? Insane.
ことを続けたら、教会正統派は終わるぞ。教皇は世俗化し、修道院は戒律で思考停止。教会は免罪符で金を稼いでる。
Mhm.
これで迷える者の希望になれるのか。このままでは近いうちに対抗勢力によって教会正統派は崩れるぞ。そしたら私の核も落ちるではないか。
我が修道院の力で 大学は立ち入り禁止にする。
But just paint them in such a bad light.
運が良ければ失明は免れる。片目だけでも残るといいな。では神のご加護。
Thank you for at least not showing it.
書類を見よう。ただし、その観測日誌の続きを君が記録するのが条件だ。
I can't though.
俺が
手始めに今日の火星だ。ちょうど私の研究に必要でな。観測方法はその日誌の絵で大体わかるだろう。
But I can't read it.
怪しい話に協力するんだ。せめてこのくらい貢献してくれ。
So we gotta seek out somebody who can.
俺夜空が見られないんですけど。
申し訳ないが、冗談に付き合ってる暇。
Here's you have two working eyes. I'm not gonna put up with that. And now you're faced with the circumstance of, you know, your potential life being endangered by upholding the things you're told to do.
無理だ。できない。そもそもなんで俺がこんなことしなきゃ。すぐにこんなの捨てて町へ戻って全部やり直そう。元の町に帰れなくても流れ物として別の町で一から人生を始めればいい。階級は最高層に落ちるけど、もともと似たようなもんだ。元よりこの世界において苦しいのは当然。ここを耐えれば俺には死後天国がある。そうだ、天国だ。
Serves as your constant reminder.
それに引き換えあの人たちは俺の人生でたった二人だけの天国よりこの世を重視した人たちだ。彼らの地獄行きは確実だ。そんな人の言うこと聞いちゃダメだ。
But
だけど俺の人生でたった二人、たった二人、彼らだけが
died with a smile.
満足そうな顔をしてた。
Fulfilled the purpose even greater while here for the betterment of the future and the truth.
見たって何も変わらない。期待なんてやめろ。
絶望は希望に転化しうるのだ。
この世界に期待することだ。ダメだ。でも
Immediately looking down on you. But at least he took the step.
では案内してもらおうか。書類とやらに。
が変わるようなものでした。
Yes, absolutely.
いや違う。これは宇宙が変わるぞ。
Too much to take in.
大丈夫だ。
Too overjoyed with us.
今吐き出したのはくだらん常識と積み上げた思い込みだ。これはすごいぞ。やはり神は間違えてなかったんだ。それどころか人類に理解可能に宇宙を作った。確かに教会では少し問題があるが、
I like his perspective on this.
解釈を見つければ公表も不可能ではないか。アリストテレスの同心球理論とプトレマイオスの理心円終点円理論の乖離とそれぞれの欠点の
I was like, what does that mean?
今用いられているすべての理論において宇宙全体とその部分に均衡がなく、それぞれ独立した計算で記述され体系化されていないことに対する意義。もっと端的に言うと地球は動いている。
全然動いてないです。
Look, I'm just standing here.
だが間違いにしてはここに書かれていることはあまりにも合理的だ。一つ実験をしよう。これが展開における最大の謎、惑星の逆行だ。人類はこの原因を解明することは諦め、せめて計算は可能にしようと努めた。惑星は前にだけ進みながら後戻りしてたんだ。
そんなの不可能じゃ。何してるんです？
Give him a minute.
宇宙を再
Yeah,
現
he's testing. He just absorbed a lot of information. He needs to map it out on his own.
今の一瞬にプトレマイオスの1000年を覆す秘密が隠されていたぞ。まず最初の地点では、君から見て前方にいる私は前に向かって巡航してたはずだ。しかし速度の違いから距離が縮まる。ここで君から見ると、私が巡航する速度はどんどん遅くなっていく。そしてついに並び追い越す一瞬、地球の君から見て火星の私は後ろに逆行して見える。そして完全に追い越してしまえば、
It's clear you were moving forward. Yeah.
もし逆行は本当に行われているのではなく、地球から観測しているせいでそう見えているだけだとしたら、本来の惑星の軌道はこうだ。どちらがよりシンプルかわかるだろう。
ええ。
君、この話の意味がわかるか？あの石箱は人類に説いている。展開は崇高で荘厳で偉大で広大で、そして地球と調和していると。
展開と地球が調和。
Goes against everything.
展開がこの地球と一緒で汚れてると。
Yeah. Such a night and day perspective from everyone else. When I've rejected all this time for the first time, clearly looking up. We're gonna hit the books. Full introduction of Bedeni is out of the way, and we get to learn a lot more about him. He's fun, interesting, a little weird, you know, but he's somebody who fights for his own thirst of knowledge, you know, and he's somebody who I made note of multiple times throughout this, but has a really fun perspective that falls in line in a certain way with the other characters that we've known to be researching and fascinated by this stuff up to this point, but also his own sort of spin on it. Viewing the idea of like every single thing that say God has kind of intended with a creation of the universe or world to be things that are all extremely intentional and aren't things that like you're in the wrong for finding a flaw in, I think, which is how the church has kind of taken it and how all these other characters are almost taking it too, like that they're disproving these things that just aren't true and maybe not finding beauty in that, but instead just finding the beauty in the place that they live in. And instead he seems to be fully grasping it from a direction of, this is a beautiful place that I have been put on and given this opportunity to get to this even higher and more beautiful place. How can I utilize all the resources at my disposal that were given to me by this person itself and prove these things, because they have to be things that are I guess just provable from us. Why would we be put like on a place or just in a position that we are being told that these things are the truths of the world and that this is how these things work, but not actually like being able to like figure them out and understand them on our own, and instead just taking the word of somebody else, right? Like, why would you have to go through the lengths of being like, it's just like that because I wanted it to be like that? There would have to be like more of a deeper reason for it. And if we truly did create this place with the intention of, you know, whatever reasons that it wound up being what it is, we should be able to have the luxury of researching, of studying and advancing our own kind of knowledge here, and to be able to prove exactly why it is, as we are being told, and the science and math and whatever else we need to go behind this, to actually have like more substance behind. It's just like that because it was created like that, there's like actually a calculated way that we can come up with the conclusion of why things are the way that they are. And that would only make sense, right? If he created this beautiful place, like why would that stuff be hidden and taken from us, and trying to utilize that idea that like these beings of us are created in a way that we can obtain and store so much knowledge and work through all these complex kind of like issues and equations. We should utilize all of that to our best ability here to kind of prove his own word, or the word that has been passed down for years and years and been taught as correct. And I think it's a fun way of approaching this in comparison, I think, to some of the other characters up to this point. And not a way of just like solely trying to find like the beauty within the earth itself, or find the beauty that lies potentially beyond it, but more of already noticing and seeing that we are like beautiful creatures and created on this beautiful place. But at the end of the day, we can even make it more special by being able to kind of alter and advance this and get everybody else on board and understanding of like what future teachings and things should actually be too. So I think that it's really fun getting a lot of different thought processes from him up to this point, and even showing the lengths that he's willing to go to kind of like prove what he exactly feels here with, just willing to take all these beatings and willing to take, potential loss of vision and an eye and everything, even if it means that he can get a little bit closer to exactly what his end goal is. And just the multiple steps that he takes, like it's a respectable thing. It's dumb on some levels, for lack of a better word, I guess. Like it's respectable in the sense of like, I'm going to, take these lashings and do them myself even more, so that I feel comfortable enough that I can speak out, because then I'm not going to have to do them again afterwards. I've already, taken my punishment for it. And for anything else that may come into the future, answers a lot of questions too about the scarrings and the things that I had in the previous episode. And even taking that chance of like, I know I can lose my vision and even an eye or whatever from this, but just to have a peek inside that book is all that I realistically need. It's dumb in the idea that like a lot of this stuff could have been done in different ways, right? He could have just stayed low a little bit and figured out another smarter opportunity to potentially obtain this and look inside this book and get whatever forbidden knowledge that he's kind of after, while not faced with these people being directly in front of you, but instead to have it just to read like a few lines or a sentence. It probably isn't the smartest thing. I think like his overall actions of like his progressions, I guess I should say, are a little wrong, like just off in my opinion. But as somebody who is so overjoyed about every single thing that he can potentially come to understand and further his own kind of curiosity, it makes enough sense that he would jump at any opportunity he could, not knowing when the next time that he would get that chance. And it's like an urge that you get, when you want something, like, oh yeah, I want this. Well, you can get it in like 4 months, or you could have it right now, but you might have to be like punished in some way for it. And he's willing to just take that to get it now and quench that curiosity just at the exact moment. So he's an interesting dude, being able to put everything together too and explain things with the retrograde and stuff towards the back end too is fun, and get somebody like Oxy up to his own, not his own standards, but I guess like open and free him up a little bit. And that's the progression that we got. That's what I talked about in the previous episode, how he's been built as a character I don't really care for right now. And I think it's full intentional for them to open his world up so much more and make him more useful and meaningful, I guess, to us. Just further his own life from being somebody who doesn't believe in really anything and having this purpose, to being somebody who like sees that value while being on the earth. So I think it makes plenty of sense that he gets that progression as time moves on here. So it was fun to be able to get these eye-opening moments from him, even struggling at first while trying to look up with the eyes looking down upon him, still to the point that he was able to see the sky fully cleared up and have his world blown open a little bit too. So good on them overall. What the hell do you want? is this going to be life changing? He has a really good line later about it being something that's universe changing and not just life altering either. His own struggle to like come out and say this is a little frustrating. I'd be lying if that wasn't the case. Somebody just told me, he's omitting a lot of detail and things that I almost wish that he didn't. Not saying that but then he was going to know who Gross was or any of that, if you utilize his name in any sort of importance, especially after what he expressed that he probably wouldn't know. But at the same time, just omitting these certain things that I think would be plenty useful and we should have kind of expanded on a bit about maybe what contents of these sort of things are, about who he was, about why he was researching and what he came to terms with and like how he understood. These are all things that I'm pretty sure you well know, and just not really expressing that. You're not selling yourself well. It wouldn't be a great salesman either, or even more like explanation about like I can't read and I can't do any of this and I need to utilize you for this and I've been told like all this stuff about you in the past and whatever. Like just omitting all these things just felt all off. But whatever, you do you, I guess, brother. A little bit of a backstory here with him. See, this was my own misunderstanding because I didn't see, or they showed us clearly here, but I completely forgot about it as we switched to these scenes. So I thought his eye was already messed up. So I, for whatever reason, thought this was taking place at like present time as it was. And then he was going to have no eye either, but it clearly wasn't for that. Taking your own beatings and everything so you can come out and say the things you want. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know all the history, so I can't sit there and tell you that it's wrong in any way. But something about just the general mindset that the church itself is having, it just feels so wrong, like entirely. Like I just don't know how you're in a scenario where somebody's calling out all the flaws and the things that you're doing wrong for like being taught and told the things to think without actually using any critical thinking on your own, and all the dumb things about it. And then you just being like, well, that's the way things are, so we're just going to go with it and agree with it. Like, as opposed to like maybe stop and reflect or anything. And I guess it's just due to the time period of believing, that any curiosity, as they put it, like it's literally a sin to be curious is kind of how they express it here. It just feels like, I don't know how those words come out of your mouth and you just don't feel like you're in the wrong at all. And you don't feel like the thing that you've dedicated your entire life to just is a little wrong there, So I don't know, just something about it. It probably has levels of truth to it, but I would believe this is more amplified and ramped up to make our main characters and the people that we're following, who make these grand and discoveries and things, be so much more impactful and be so much more on the right side of history. It would make plenty of sense. And also it's one of those things when you're in the moment or when you're in something, it's a little harder to like remove yourself and see how dumb things may look or sound from the outside. So I can completely understand and get exactly where he's coming from, but it's just the painting of them makes them look so like weak and dumb. Like they don't feel like they have a strong or valid argument for not like a single thing that's been presented 6 episodes through here. The only one who has any sort of thing like that is Novak, and he doesn't even follow like in full line with with the things that they're going out of their way and teaching and stuff. At least like somebody here like Videni was able to find the beauty within this and still want to kind of like follow the path of God, but at the end of the day feel like there was so much more for him to explore and learn, and he's not trying to do this stuff as a way to I guess dismiss his own faith or dismiss the credibility of any of the teachings and the things that there's been the common belief up to this point within his life or the world itself, but instead just trying to further his own and strengthen his own feelings for that stuff by being able to get some more scientific fact to support it almost. And that's a real solid foundation for them to build up. Whereas I feel like, I don't know, everybody else that we've met on the church's end isn't that is missing that completely. So, the God's design is flawed, and that's not true, and that's why we're doing what we do to prove that it's not the case. And even if it is, to then prove that there is so much more beauty within that. So then we have the mention of him locking and keeping all this stuff within the library as opposed to just like burning it or getting rid of it in any sort of way, which then leads us into the whole second part of what occurs within this, of him just finding a book being fully left out in the room of this other guy, which is just, I don't know, kind of dumb. Like, it's one of those things that we're creating a scenario that just is like, why would this be present, or even like be so carelessly left out in any sort of way? If this guy was up to like some sketchy sort of things where he had his own beliefs and things in it, and he was trying to be closeted on it while he was, you know, punishing those who do have their own curiosity, or feeling like he should be rewarded in a way and incentivized because of his own position within the faith, is just a little weird too. It feels like it's like one of those common things you get in like romance animes and stuff, where they like fall on top of each other, or like just, you know, the normal cliche kind of things that you like, the tropey things that you get into. And it almost feels like that again. Oh, let's make this grand discovery while nobody's around because he's gonna leave the window open. It's kind of, I don't know, it's a little weak. The only way that this gets better is, I guess, based off my own assumption on it, but I'm still having a little second thoughts based on the own reactions and stuff of the people who came in, that potentially it was fully set up here as a way to see if he would, you know, take the bait to go in and read this, and they're really just testing his own commitment and faith here. Could make plenty of sense, I guess. But I don't know, because then stepping in before he has the opportunity to read this, unless it's more of a setup on the ends of like, we're going to stop you before you even have the opportunity to do this and give you a chance to reflect and kind of refrain from doing it. I don't know. But he makes the decision that he has to view what's going on. And as a result, he gets burned. Which leads us to present day. We can't look after these things, and we need to uphold the position and stuff that we're in, but somebody else can. So we're going to put you in charge of being the one who actually goes out their way and does this. He can't get in trouble or do any of this if he wasn't the one to. You know, he could say that, you know, he actually could sell him out if he wanted to at some point for being like, yo, I'm just doing exactly as this guy almost told. But it does look a little better, and it's a little harder to uncover if somebody else doing the work directly for you. Could restart, could end it all, could go out of your way. But here we serve a constant reminder. Those who potentially didn't reach the place that I wanted to seem to be the most happy when that time ultimately came. What exactly does that mean for you? Tries to take the chance to finally look up. It's a little too much for him. Until he has his world blown a little bit open later on here, where he gets the full chance to the thought process and just the going through the things that, you know, have been brought up as topics from Raph's arc to the first 2 episodes of this one so far, and then being able to have revelations in regards to them and explanations for why these things are the way they are, or why he feels the way that they are, is fun. Every time they start like drawing and putting all that stuff, it's really fun. And I like the first like actual, well, I guess this isn't the first, because we had the one with Raph kind of testing things in regards to objects like moving or appearing their own motion and stuff, when he tried to do a backflip there. But we get another test directly from this too, and incorporating both of our characters here, which is fun to explain how the motion actually works, or why it is visible and appears the way that it kind of does in correlation to us, and what it means, what we find, the things to move the universe. Find out that they are potentially a one, which blows it open. No more eyes looking down upon you. It's, for some reason, the sky is so much more visible and clear for you tonight, isn't it? That's where we get a left off. Fun character introduction for Beneni's part, and I'm excited for a little bit more on his end and see what he gets up to and how he kind of sneaks around in his own position here, and how we can kind of utilize somebody like Oxy to not get caught up in it or raise any sort of suspicions at the same time, which likely will come out and happen in some way. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you liked it, like and subscribe. That's my feel free to check out the channel. If you comment on this series, I'll be back for episode 7 very soon. That was a great one though. Peace.